Hello and welcome to the Upside Down Shack. In today's video, we're going to just quickly talk about Ross Duffer's updates regarding the first volume of Stranger Things Season 5 and its completion status. Now, this is somewhat old news. If you've been around the channel for a little bit, you know that I took a little bit of a break, so I missed some things regarding Stranger Things Season 5. I'm playing a little bit of catch up now. I've got a few more videos to release, and although they may be old news, there are some people out there who have not heard this news. And even if you have, I want it to be out there on the channel. Plus, what better time to cover it than the ramp up for Season 5. So hang in there, there's going to be a little bit of old news releasing on the channel, but all important news, of course. And to wrap up the catch-up segment on the channel that's going to be taking place over this week, I'm not sure exactly when, but hopefully sometime next week, I'm going to be doing a big live stream, hanging out with anybody who wants to come in and join. We're going to be reacting to the teaser trailer, the Season 5 featurette, and some of the new posters that they have dropped over the last couple of days. And of course, those are going to be clipped up and released as videos in themselves. But there are some big things such as the teaser trailer and the featurette that I just unfortunately don't have the time to sit and make a big video on. So we're just going to hang out and do it on stream together. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be releasing the official date and time for it, and I'm really looking forward to that. But anyways, let's get into the point of this video, and that is that Ross Duffer a few weeks ago announced that episodes 1 and 2 are done, and then later, a few weeks after that, announcing that episodes 3 and 4 are done, meaning that the first volume of Season 5 is complete. I'm going to put these screenshots of his Instagram post up on the screen now, and we're going to read through the caption, giving us a little bit more information on what this exactly means. So here we go. The first post, of course, is Chapter 1 and 2 being done. We see a big screen and a editing board there in front of him. I'm not even going to act like I know what exactly goes on there, but I assume that this is the editing room, and they're checking out the VFX and the music and everything of the sort for the first 2 episodes. And of course, we see the titles as we would see them in the intro of the actual episodes. Chapter 1, The Crawl, and Chapter 2, The Vanishing of, and he made sure to really scribble that out and put a question mark on it. We all know that they have been trying to keep The Vanishing of blank under wraps for a while. A lot of us speculating that it is going to be maybe a spoiler alert, so leave if you don't want it spoiled potentially. But Holly Wheeler, it was semi-leaked that it was going to be her when these titles were first released. And although I think that storyline would be cool, I'm really hoping that the Duffer brothers throw us a curveball and make it not Holly Wheeler all along. And part of me feels like they are, because even though what it feels like entirety of the internet knows that it's going to be Holly Wheeler, they still seem to scribble it out. So maybe it isn't, but we'll just have to see. And then in his caption, he gives us a little more information on the 2 episodes, saying Chapters 1 and 2 locked, mixed, scored, colored, done. And without getting technical, those are all of the major components that you need to complete any episode of TV or movie. So these episodes are done, ready to go, probably sent to Netflix already. Continuing, he says, The Crawl is our favorite, most eventful first episode since Season 1. Which is a absolutely crazy thing to say, because in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of other Stranger Things fans' opinions, Season 1, Episode 1 is just iconic, front to back, the vanishing of Will Byers, flawless pilot episode. So them saying that out of all 5 first episodes of a season they've done, even including the most iconic Season 1, Episode 1, that this is their favorite and most eventful one. So it sounds like Season 5 is going to be starting off with a bang, and we are going to be in for a treat come Thanksgiving time in a little more than a month. I'm so excited. Anyways, continuing, he says, The Vanishing of ... and then in parentheses says, yeah, you think you know, blah, blah, has by far the craziest cold opening we've ever done. One of the sequences we're most proud of this season. So as if he wasn't already hyping up the first episode, he doubles down and says that episode 2 may be even crazier. Let's first get out of the way that he is kind of poking fun at the theorizers like myself, and of course the leakers, who rightfully deserve it, saying, haha, yeah, you think you know who it is, blah, 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 blah. when blanking out the vanishing of you-know-who part of episode 2, which I think is hilarious and kind of even feeds into my theory that it might not be who we think after all. Again, we're just going to have to wait and see. I just think it would be hilarious and just crazy if when we go to open Netflix on Thanksgiving and see that episode 2 title, and it's not Holly Wheeler, the explosion that is going to happen across the fandom. And speaking of that, I'm also going to take this time to say that I am going to be doing live watch parties for season 5 when the episodes drop. It might not be immediately on the dot of when the episodes drop because I still have to find out exactly what time that's going to be. If I'm doing some Thanksgiving stuff with family, I'm not going to leave the dinner table to go watch Stranger Things, unfortunately. So we might do like a midnight live stream or something. Of course, going to be announced when the time gets closer and the time of the drops are official. But get excited for those. I cannot wait to have my first reaction to the final episodes of Stranger Things with you guys. I'm really looking forward to doing those. Anyways, he continues this part of the caption by saying, "It has one of the craziest cold opens we've ever done. One of the sequences we're most proud of this season." Which again, just like the claim of them saying season 5, episode 1 is the craziest first episode of a season they've done, this is just as crazy, saying it is one of the craziest cold opens we've ever done. And there's been some crazy cold opens in Stranger Things. Also saying they are most proud of this sequence. Now, I'm going to put my theorizing cap on for just 2 seconds here. I'm going to make it quick. Given the title and the context of probably what this episode's going to be about, I'm going to assume that this cold open is Holly's disappearance. And it is going to be the straight beginning of the episode. Probably episode 1 is going to set up some connection between Vecna and Holly. And then by the opening of episode 2, we are going to see Vecna just fully taking her. And I think the fact that they're saying that this is one of the craziest sequences and one of the sequences they're most proud of doing is very telling, because we know there's a lot of Vecna and Holly scenes. Even this Henry Creel in disguise looking character interacting with Holly. So I think this opening is going to have a lot of layers to it, and it's not going to be Holly just getting sucked into the upside down. I think this is going to be a very technical disappearance that is going to rattle the Wheeler family and the group as well. Just my theory. And then he closes this post by saying, "I would tell you runtimes, but I was told not to. At a later date, I guess, shrug emoji." Which, not too much to go off of there. Obviously, just poking fun at how there's so many fake runtimes out there, and that he knows we all want to know these crazy runtimes, or potentially crazy runtimes, but he was told not to, and I can only assume he was told not to by Netflix themselves. Sounds like we are going to get them at a later time, though. When that is, I'm not sure. I hope we get them sometime before the release. I'm sure we will, but it would be good to know how much we're biting off on Thanksgiving Day when they drop these 4 episodes. But that was his first post. His second post coming just shortly after on August 31st, saying that chapters 3 and 4 are locked, mixed, scored, colored. Volume 1 is done. Which in the moment when he posted these, it was super exciting to see, because chapter 1 and 2 being done and hearing what he had to say about those was exciting enough. And then a few short weeks after him announcing that the entire first volume is done got me super hyped up. And his caption is as followed. "The Turnbow Trap is the most classic Stranger Things-y episode of the season. It's got all of our favorite things, directed by one of our idols, Frank Darabont, from Shawshank, Green Mile, and Walking Dead, who literally came out of retirement for this. He crushed it, obviously." There is a lot to unpack in this part of the caption, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. First off, by Ross Duffer saying that this is the most classic Stranger Things-y episode of the season, which is perfect to hear. I feel like, as much as I like a lot of the current Stranger Things episodes, that they do kind of stray away from that classic feeling that you get from watching a season 1, even parts of season 2. So him saying that about this episode is really exciting. And my most exciting part about this episode is that Frank Darabont did direct this. Now, this was news that came out a while ago, and Ross Duffer is not lying. This man literally came out of retirement to dedicate his skills to an episode of the final season of Stranger Things. Of course, Ross Duffer mentioning that he has worked on Shawshank, Green Mile, and The Walking Dead, and that's just to name a few. This guy is a legendary director and I'm excited to see what he brings to Stranger Things, especially this episode. Now, the last part of this caption, Ross Duffer says that Sorcerer is massive, as big as any finale we've ever done, and the most logistically insane shoot of our lives. We're still recovering. And man, that is probably one of the craziest things he's said about any of these first 4 episodes, saying it's just insanely massive. Now, whether this means that it is massive in runtime or massive in things occurring in the episode or both, that is just so exciting to hear. Saying that it is as big as any finale they've ever done. Now, you have to think about this. Him saying that it's bigger than any finale they've ever done, and it takes place halfway through the season, it is basically the mid-season finale, is crazy. I assume what he means by this is it's bigger than the finales of seasons 1 through 4. And putting that in the middle of a season is wild. I'm going to kind of touch on my theory of the Turnbow Trap because it does have to do with something I want to talk on right now about the Sorcerer episode. It's been theorized a lot that the Sorcerer episode is going to see Will in a more powerful role, maybe fighting against Vecna or using some sort of power to lure in or fight Vecna. I'm still very on the edge about the technicalities of this. I don't think Will is going to have straight up powers, but I think part of his connection to the Upside Down is going to aid in the fight against Vecna, and that I think this is going to happen in Sorcerer. Now, the way this ties into Turnbow Trap is when I first saw Turnbow Trap and the kind of description in this caption about it, I thought that this was going to be the episode where Will screams, "Run!" You know, the very memed scene from the end of the teaser trailer that we saw. Because when we got the leaked video of him screaming, "Run," it was heavily rumored that that episode was the one filmed by Frank Darabont. Especially with him doing more gritty, dark things like Walking Dead, Shawshank, and Green Mile, people thought it was for sure going to be that episode. Now I'm a little unsure because what I think is happening when Will is screaming, "Run," it is him probably going to be mind controlled or possessed of some sort by Vecna. And now part of me really thinks that this is going to happen in Sorcerer. So I don't know, I'm really torn on these two, but I'm sure these 2 episodes are going to go really hand in hand with one another in terms of Will and Vecna and the connection between them. Again, I cannot stress just how excited I am for this. And then the last part of this caption, still talking about Sorcerer, saying it is the most logistically insane shoots of our lives. We're still recovering. And it doesn't take a massive film or technical film nerd to know that if something is logistically insane and that they're still recovering, the end product is going to be just as, if not way more insane. Which again ties into my theory that this has to do something with Will and Powers and Vecna, especially because, again, in that leaked video of Will screaming "Run," you see just massive cranes with lights, acres of field being just blocked off, several cars and vans outside this giant house. This could be exactly what they're talking about, or I'm just being a nut and thinking way too much into this, but for them to say that is just wild. So there you have it. Chapter 1 is done and completed, and that is what Ross Duffer has to say about each of the first 4 episodes that we're going to get this Thanksgiving, just a little more than a month away. I could not be more excited. Now, this does leave me with the question of the progress of the last 3 episodes, of course, or last 4 episodes. I'm sorry, I think we're getting 8 episodes this season. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But still, either way, the last 3 or 4 episodes obviously are still being worked on. A lot of people are raising concern about this, and I'm going to just say, chill out. It's going to be okay. They know what they're doing. They've done this before. And of course, they still have a lot more time to perfect these last 4 episodes. As again, these first 4 come out in a month and a half, and we're going to sit on them for about a month. So they have at least 2 months' time to finish the final 4 episodes. And I'm sure those are just as logistically insane, if not 10 times more insane than the first 4 episodes. And of course, when it comes out that they have finished Volume 2, I will be making videos on that. Kind of the same style video, breaking down the caption and reading into what it may mean. Again, I'm really excited to see what they have to say about the last 4 episodes, because if these first 4 are as crazy as they say, I can only imagine what the finale and the episodes leading up to the finale are going to be like. But that is about it for today's video. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about these episodes and their descriptions down in the comments below. Of course, as always, I'm going to be reading those and responding to all of them as they come in. I'm very excited to hear what you have to say. Also, while you're at it, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.